Thank you very much, Sigurður. Yes, we will have 6 presentations here today. I will start with telling a little bit about GEORG, what we have been doing and what we are going to do in the near future. We all know that geothermal has been very important to the Icelandic people for many decades, actually from the settlements of Iceland. But the actual usage for industry and for house heating and so on didn't start until in the 1900 or so. And the increase of utilization of geothermal has been tremendous over this decades or this century. Utilization of geothermal requires a very diverse or interdisciplinary approach. We need all kinds of skills ranging from geology and geophysics and geochemistry over to engineering, biology and technicians and others. So there we have a quite big range of skills needed for geothermal. And then we need all kinds of institutes and companies to come to the field. We need the universities and training centers for education. We need the research centers for exploring the potential and to consult, and then the energy firm to consult and design the utilization facilities and so on. And then of course the energy companies to utilize it. And then of course we need a set of ideology and innovation, entrepreneurship to make the most out of it as possible. And this actually environment or these requirements are actually perfect for a cluster creation. So the cluster of the Icelandic geothermal cluster more or less was created many years ago. But the form of cooperating around the cluster actually didn't start until 2009. And it was kind of funny that there were 2 actually parties starting a cooperation on this cluster at the same time. That is GEORG on the research basis, and then Icelandic geothermal more on the market side or on the industrial side. And it was very fortunate that these 2 cooperations started in these 2 ends of this value chain, if you can say so, because the synergy of these 2 is quite good. And the cooperation has increased over the years when we have matured and so on. But I'm going to tell you about GEORG. It was funded in 2009, as I said, and it was based on a fund from the Icelandic Technology Center through their cluster of excellence and program. There were 22 partners that formed the GEORG, and we can see the logos down here, and we kind of see GEORG as a bridge or a connector between the industry and the research and science. The main activities are based on these 4 pillars for GEORG. We are supporting projects, and we are trying to lubricate the cooperation. We use the fund we got from Rannis to lubricate the cooperation and enhance the research. And then we have service to cluster partners like matchmaking and training centers and so on. And then we help the partners to apply for grant abroad or actually nationally, European, and on international level. And then the 4th pillar is the dissemination of the results and so on. The activities today or achievement to date, we, as I said, been operating for now 4 years, and we have launched 4 calls for projects for proposals. First 2 in the year 2009. Where we actually, in the first call, we supported 11 projects, and the second call we supported 5 projects. And then we supported 4 projects in the third call and 3 projects in the fourth call, which was in 2011. So we have a portfolio of projects that are ongoing and sort of a setting the ground basis for the cooperation in GEORG. In addition to this, we have been supporting students not only through these projects, but also as a traveling grants to students taking part in, for example, the European PhD Day. We have done that 4 times now. And we also supported students to participate generally in conferences this year, 100,000 kroner per student, and up to 10 students were supported this year. We managed to set up a legal entity in 2012, which is very important for us to take part in international applications and projects, to have an identity for ourselves. So this was established in 2012, as I said. The same year we started, or the geothermal AeroNet was started, and GEORG actually took part or led the application for the geothermal AeroNet. This is a European project on an administrative level, more or less. Orkustofnun is leading that, and in Iceland as well, Rannís is taking part. And then we have 10 other countries taking part in this activity to try to streamline the research agenda for Europe, more or less. So it's a very important project. There's a poster outside here if you want to take a look at it even further. We have also been working on a project that we call Deep Root of Geothermal Systems. We started this actually in 2010, so it has been taking a quite long time to establishing a project, and we launched it this summer, finally. But it took a long time, a lot of discussion and defining and so on, and it has been a very exciting trip actually, and I personally have learned a lot about geothermal systems during this time, and I will tell you a little bit about this later. Then we are starting now to focus more and more on innovative aspects and so on, and I will tell you a little bit about that as well later in the presentation. So there is a lot of things that we have achieved actually during this time. Here you can see a set of the project, 22 projects. We have divided into 3 main categories, which is the reservoir modeling and simulation. There are a lot of projects on that. High pressure and high temperature fluids, we also have projects which are dealing with that topic. And then we have projects that we've put under environmental impacts. These are different projects dealing with sequestration both of CO2 and H2S, and other kinds of projects that we have been working on. The two categories above, the reservoir modeling and high pressure, we more or less put this under the hat of Deep Root of Geothermal project. So we took more or less all that we have learned there and are trying to combine it into one project. So what is more or less the Deep Root project all about? It is more or less to understand the roots of the systems. We are quite sure how this works. So the scientists of Iceland and people of Iceland are pretty sure how this works. And we have an idea how the more deep system works, but we are not sure. And the fundamental questions that we want to answer, or we found out during this long period of discussion, was to try to understand better what is the nature of the heat source. How deep are the heat source, and how long do they provide thermal energy? And and last but not least is how on Earth can we tame this monstrous energy when we reach so high temperature and high pressure, which are actually down here in this, very close to the magma and to the heat source itself. And so we started up the project. We can divide it into a few categories, and what we can summarize up a little bit what we actually want to see or want to know. We want to understand the boundaries here, the nature of the boundary layer between the molted magma and then the start of the thermal convection up to the surface. And we want to know this layer here between the supercritical and superheated layer. How does it actually work? Is it as simple, if I can say so, as this picture show, or is it much more complex patterns going on here? And we really want to try to use modeling techniques and so on to understand or try to calculate what is happening down there. We want to learn from existing or from fossil roots that have been eroded. What actually can we read from the stones, from the rocks and so on? What was happening in the roots when they cooled down? So there is a part of the project facing that or focusing on that. And then we want to see if we can use the today's or the best technologies on GPS and so on to combine it or incorporate it with the latest or with the what you can say a traditional way of exploring. So try to see if we can. There's a lot of new methods to see how the earth is like breathing, and seeing if we can somehow combine the information we get from these images to more traditional surveys like seismetics and TEM and so on. And last but not least, we want to see how we can actually utilize the energy, which is the third part of the project, is to see how we can alter the design of boreholes or especially the liners in the boreholes and the top of the borehole to actually withstand this enormous energy, because people are talking about if we can reach these supercritical fluids or these very high temperature fluids, you're tenfolding the energy output of one borehole. So it's not easy to tame all that energy. So that's a part of the project as well. Here is a setup of the project. It's divided into 6 main categories. Sigrun Hreins is going to talk about going to work on the GPS and so on detecting that. Hjalti Fransson is going to take a look at the old rocks and see if we can gain some understanding from that. Knútur Árnason is the gadget guy with all the other exploration stuff, the seismic and so on. Robert Podgorny is a US guy, which is actually very keen on mathematical modeling, and he's going to control the mathematical modeling and simulation on the field. That is actually divided into 2 parts, from Landsvirkjun part and Orkuveita Reykjavíkur part. And then we have the utilization of the high pressures, which is Guðrún Sævarsdóttir from Reykjavík University and Magnús Þór Jónsson from University of Iceland. This project actually is then connected very well to other projects that are facing very much the same challenges. This is the IMAGE project, which is a European supported project. We have an IBGT project called COTHERM, which is very much into calculation and so on simulation, on mathematical modeling on the reservoir and so on. And then, of course, the IDTP project is very connected to the utilization of the fluids. And this is all going to be a cooperative research work. This is funded by GEORG with about 30% of the grant is coming from GEORG, and then the power companies are taking an equal share of 15 million each company, and the IDTP project is also setting or devoting 5 million Icelandic kroners to this project. So in total, this is 99 million to this project, including then co-funding from the companies themselves. So it's a total sum of about 350 million or so, the project cost. So it's a very exciting project, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of it, and so on, and will increase our understanding of the source very much, I think. The same would we like to do, or similar things would we like to do with the environmental impact package, meaning that we want to take these projects and hopefully some more, combine it into a project in similar way as we did with the deep root project, and set up something that we have now called waste to value, trying to utilize as much the waste from the geothermal power plant as possible. This is something that the power company needs to get rid of the emissions and so on, but we want to go more than just get rid of it. We want to increase the value out of it and improve the value chain a lot. So this is something that we will start. We actually started last year on seminar series, but we want to start working heavily on this winter, so you'll probably hear something about that later this winter. Another thing that we are focusing more and more on is the innovation reinforcement. We started this last year based on what we have gained in the project and so on. And there was a lot of questions how to actually do this, to come about this, and the conclusion was to do this as much as we can in cooperation with Iceland Geothermal. And they were actually doing the same or thinking the same at the same time, increasing innovation and so on. It's not it's not strange that we go with them. Innovation is one of the keys for GEORG, and actually this is the same with Iceland Geothermal. This is a new vision they created this year, and there the ultimate goal for them is to increase innovation and development in the sector. So there is a lot of synergy between those two, and we are working very closely on this. And the setup, which we will probably announce better in more detail later this year, is that to set up some kind of innovation accelerators. You can say it's divided more or less in three parts. We are start with filtering ideas for the accelerators. This can be entrepreneurs' idea, research results, or development ideas or projects from the companies which in the cluster, and then of course just an open innovation. These ideas will be put into a accelerator or business training program, which can last from, say, from 10 to 20 weeks, something that we need to define in more detail. The participants in the accelerator, or the sponsors, or the financier, will actually invest in the ideas. So there will be a direct investment in the idea that comes through the filtering in the accelerator, and we will sort of develop the business plan of the idea and take it even further, make it more in investment ready. And after the accelerator program, we hope to have ideas that actually can be invested by either by the companies in the cluster, because that's something that could benefit their operation, or just from regular investors or funds that would like to invest in the project. So we would really want to our main goal is to try to pull out of the cluster cooperation as much of innovation ideas and lubricative project and companies as possible. And we will do our best to foster the ideas that come out of the accelerator as much as possible, making sure that at least they will not be thrown out of the idea. So, and we are in cooperation or negotiation with few companies in the clusters, and we will probably announce that better later in this year. Another thing which I want to tell you about is a project sharing website that we are taking part in together with Iceland Geothermal and the Ocean Cluster. The Ocean Cluster actually started this idea and set up this website. It's a quite nice website to try to link students and companies together to encourage work on what I call there a reality projects. This is project that needs to be done in the companies and so on, and trying to set up a bridge between either the project and professors and teachers and the companies. It's open to all industries, and there is a lot of opportunities here for both for the companies and the students themselves. The projects are open to all, but there is all students, but there is an emphasis on university level, of course. Projects are of all sizes and types. We have short seminar projects, like for if you are in some study and on a seminar, then you can have a short project on that. We have summer project and summer jobs actually in this website. We have, of course, the bachelor and master's and PhD project and all the other university projects. In this can be either paid project or unpaid project. And there is, of course, various locations of the project. Let me just see if I can go into this website just to show you a little bit more on it. Yes, this is the front page of the website. Here you have project, companies, students, information and registration. If you want to register either with a project that you want to have, or you need a student, or you are a student that you would like to participate, you just click here and you register as a company or as a student. There is an English version of this actually on development, and it will hopefully be launched very soon. But this is actually a very easy to use. Here we have students that are registered here. It's connected with LinkedIn, so if you have a LinkedIn profile, it's over there. You can see here the list of projects. There are a lot of projects actually. Most of them are with ocean project or fisheries and so on, because the ocean cluster started this. But we are starting now to introduce this more and more to the geothermal world and other businesses. So a project will increase there, hopefully, and hopefully students as well. So it's quite easy, and the link is verkefnamiðlun.is. So I encourage you to take a look at it and register yourself there and see if it can help you. So I just wanted to end with a little inspiration from my home country. I actually grew up there. This is Seljavallalauga. Probably most of you know where this is and have been there sometimes. If not, you should go there. This is where I spent most of my childhood. Every week I went there with my family. But life isn't always easy. And we, as you probably know, we had an eruption as well, very close to Seljavallalauga. And the pool was actually filled up with ashes. And it was a question of whether this was possible actually to maintain the pool. It's owned by a small association, Ungmennafélag. It doesn't have doesn't have much money, and all more or less worked on a voluntary basis and so on. So there was a question whether we could actually just maintain the pool. But with a lot of motivation, hard work, and a lot of volunteers actually from all over the country, we managed to dig out the ashes. And every year now we need to dig out the ash after the winter, because there is a lot of ash coming down the hills there. So every year we need to dig it out, but with a lot of cooperation and a will to do this, motivation and so on, many things can be done. And I think this could be some sort of a motivation for us all to continue to work together and move big stones and even a lot of sand as well. And we can manage. Together we can. Thank you very much.